Students, today our topic is about the basis of heredity, chromosomes, and genes. So, the basis of heredity lie in the intricate interplay of chromosomes, DNA, and genes. The components work together to transmit the genetic information from one generation to the next, ensuring the continuity of the life and the diversity of the organism. The picture shows that the chromosomes lies is a structure in the cell nucleus that carry the genetic information consisting of a long DNA molecules coiled around protein. A gene is a specific segment of the DNA within a chromosome that contain the genetic instructions for making a specific protein or functional RNA molecule. So firstly, we discuss about the chromosome. So basically, the chromosomes are the thread-like structure found in the nucleus of most of the cells. The chromosomes are composed of tightly coiled DNA and the protein. Each chromosomes contain a specific sequence of the genes which are the basic unit of the heredity. So this we explain with these images that the chromosomes, the center part is known as the centromere, the edge of the chromosome is the telomere, and the two arms is known as the sister chromatids. So in this picture, the DNA is double helix round and enclosed in the chromosome. So this as a whole structure we called it as a chromosome. The next we called as a DNA, which is the deoxyribonucleic acid. The DNA deoxyribonucleic acid is a complex molecules that carry the genetic instructions for the development, functioning, growth, and reproduction of all known organisms and many viruses. So the DNA is often compared to a blueprint as it contains the instructions for building and maintaining an organism. So this we explain with the examples of the DNA. The blue color is the ladder of the DNA which is coiled around each other and create a double helical structure. The center of the DNA is consist of some nucleotides. In that case, that one is the adenine, guanine, cytosine, and the thymine, which create the base pairing of the DNA. The other feature is which coil this DNA is the sugar phosphate backbones which create the backbone of the two ladders and coiled around each other. The genes the genes are the segment of the DNA that code for a specific proteins or the RNA molecule. The genes are those proteins and RNA molecules play a crucial role in determining an organism's traits such as the eye color, hair color, height, and susceptibility to certain disease. The gene will be explained with the this image that the first which is the initiation of the gene is the regulatory region where the start of the protein will be take. This region consists some of the promoter sequences which start the synthesis of the protein. Secondly, the gene contain also some transcription units which consist of the exons and the introns. So this we call the transcription start site where the protein synthesis take place and the messenger RNA transcription will be created. The end part is the termination where the termination of the protein will be carried out. So this is all about the structure of the genes which are present inside the DNA. So now the question is what is the connection between these components? So first connection is that the chromosomes carry the genes. For example, chromosomes are like the books and the genes are like the chapters within these books. So each chromosomes contain the multiple genes. Secondly, the genes are made up of the DNA. For example, DNA is the genetic material that made up the gene. It is the often sequence of the nucleotides in the DNA that determine the specific instructions recorded by the genes. So in this picture, the chromosomes containing the genes and the genes representing by the exons and the introns sequences. Now the DNA determine the traits. For example, the information encoded in the DNA is transcribed into the RNA which is then translated into the protein. Secondly, the DNA also determines some proteins. For example, it influenced the development and functioning of the organism, ultimately determined its trait. Now their connection will most explain by this picture that what is the relationship between genes, DNA and the chromosomes. So in this picture the chromosomes showing that the some part of the chromosome consists of the supercoiled DNA, which in that case the DNA is supercoiled and inside consists of the some nucleotide bases. While in the DNA, a short segment of the DNA is known as the genes, which consist of the genetic information. So this picture represents the relationship between the genes, DNA and the chromosome. So this is all about the relationship between the DNA, genes and chromosomes and their important roles in the heredity. Thank you so much.